corners. Richard Brodeur on the right. He's out of this game, and young Frank Caprice on the left is in. Frank Caprice has done a nice job backing up Richard Brodeur this year, especially since the first of the year.
Well, he comes in this third period with his team down 2 goals to the Maple Leafs. And this game becomes all the more important to the Maple Leafs now, what with St. Louis gaining a tie with the Islanders tonight. That ended 3-3 on the island. So at this point, is ahead of Toronto by 5. Chicago hanging out over with Pittsburgh, ahead by 4. We'll keep you posted. Vancouver Canucks come in on this play. Bartel lugged it to the corner, and Solming lugged him in on the boards. Fired down the ice. Now here comes Smith. There is Butcher. Let's see what happens. Butcher just fooled him. He went the other way. A pass away had failed to connect, but it's given away to Peterson by Dom Foose. He covered up for that error by sweeping it back. Again, Richter tried to clear it out and did. Benning moved up. Smith stopped him. Brad Smith bumped to the ice, gloved it outside the blue line. Fergus picks it up. Glove pass, and it's called.
Well, it looks like the Leafs are playing a little tentatively here, and when they had the 6-3 league and they did that, the next thing you know it was 6-5. Brad Smith is a catalyst on this team.
Four minutes and 8 seconds gone in the third period. Toronto 7, Vancouver 5. Caprice into play goal here in the third period for Vancouver. Brodeur playing 2 periods, allowing 7 goals. Canucks start out. Jim Benning lugs it to center, shoots it. Nice glove save. That was a pretty good shot by Mr. Benning.
That was a 50-footer. Most goalies will stop most of those, and Reggett did. Tom Watt working hard in that gum. And here's the shot by Benning from 65 feet out. Reggett had it all the way, but he bobbled it a bit. And he didn't want to let that puck bounce in case it bounced the wrong way.
Sundstrom with Tandy. Tandy shoots it right off the draw, and it was deflected away from the net. Lands from the corner, starts up, rink-wide pass, not a bad one to center, sending Clark in. Clark's shot is blocked. Tandy can't find room to move on it. Gill stopped him. Gill gave it away. Back to center is Sundstrom coming in on the wing. That hard shot by LeMay. Didn't miss the top corner by very much. Clark moving down the boards. Lost possession. Lidster turns, swings away from Clark and comes to center. Lidster in. Takes his shot and misses the Leaf net. Foss on the boards with it. The Leafs get to center. Jackson down. Jackson's pass to Allison. He had to do some kind of trick to stop that one.
It's lucky he didn't get hurt taking that pass.
Off the boards and down the ice again. This is icing against the Vancouver Canucks. 14:35 left in the third period. Toronto up by 2.
Russ Courtnall, he's got those legs moving a little bit better here in the third period. What a shot in the arm he'd be for Mr. Brophy's team if he got his goal-scoring act going again.
Lead pass to Hodgson nearly sent him home free, but hit him and bounced behind him. Jackson centers one. There's Smeal picking it off at the blue line, coming out. Hodgson coming up on the right side, and he'll be in first. Has the puck, tried to center it. Iafrate stopped it with the help of Reggett. Iafrate's pass got to center, and Butcher was there to intercept. Behind the net. Allison with the pass. Headmans the puck. No, decides to just swing it in and go for a change. Butcher tipped it to center. Solming dumped it back in. It'll go right to Caprice. He left it, and Bartel, the defenseman, fired a hard pass on the boards that McGill stops. To Solming. Solming backhands one in for Toronto. He's out of the net. It's clear. Chat got the goal by sheer hard work in front of Caprice.
Well, another goal that Vancouver allowed the lead player to walk out from behind the icing line. Caprice stopped the first one, but he couldn't stop the second. You can see the Vancouver defenseman skated right by the... Here's the shot, rebound, and Frank moves his right foot off the post, and he puts it in. You can't be stripped of the puck like that behind the net. Here he comes, one shot. He's right back to him, but before Butcher knocks him over, puts it in to give the Leafs their 8th goal.
6:34 the time of the goal by Inachak. That's his 9th of the season, 2 of them tonight. And a 3-goal lead for Toronto again. Canucks in. Shot off the net by Skriko. Michael Clark to Gill a second time, and Lands will move it out. Lands takes it to center. Into Courtnall, he's speeding in. Courtnall to Clark. Ripped it wide. Lehman after it, takes a hit on the boards. Lost his stick in the process. Tries to kick it loose. He is tied up by Bartel. And the Canucks get it out. Skriko moving down the boards. He can't go in by Gill. Reagan comes out, tapped into the corner by Peterson. And the Leafs are away again. Clark and Lehman. Clark dropped it. Lehman shoots it. That's blocked by Richter. Gill shot. Rebound. Fergus is tied up. And the Canucks get it out of the zone. Coming up to the 8-minute mark of the 3rd period. And the Leafs lead 8-5. This is Hockey Night in Canada from Toronto. The game at Pittsburgh is over, and the Chicago Blackhawks have won it 2-1. So at this point, Chicago is 6 points ahead of Toronto for the 4th spot in the Norris. St. Louis tying on the island tonight with New York. And they are 5 points ahead of Toronto. But the Leafs have a 3-goal lead. Namfus! Quick shot stopped by Caprice. He walked right in on the faceoff. Fergus still has it in there. Fergus turns, shoots, and he missed on the short side. Foss is up to give it to Allison. Allison is checked. The Canucks can't get it out. Again, Namfus centers, Fergus! Rebound! 2 big saves by Frank Caprice.
Caprice had lost his stick. He made a big save on Fergus. The rebound came right out, and he made the second one. Here's a nice pass by Namfus. Watch this shot. Caprice has no stick. He makes the save anyway. Now the puck comes right out in the middle, and I don't know whether Fergus made the stop or Richter made it, but it didn't go in.
I'm afraid he took that second shot. But you're right, it did not go in, and it remains 8-5 Toronto. Inachak, who has scored twice for the Maple Leafs tonight, is back out. And he's against Hodgson, who has a goal for Vancouver on this faceoff. And there they are.
You know, 5 years ago, Vancouver's philosophy was get as many young players as you can, stick with them, hope they develop into good NHLers. This year, they've traded 4 of their last 6 first-round picks, including the '87 one, in order to get better now, and they aren't any better now.
McGill takes a shot that misses. 5 had set him up. 5 has 3 tonight for Toronto. And he's on with Thomas and Inachak now. Here's 5. Sharp angle, missing the goal. Salming played it to the corner, and the Canucks do not get it out. 5 again in the slot, hands it off. And again, Caprice is tested very quickly by Thomas. Hockey Night in Canada returns in a moment. Play just underway, and Tambellini on the ice for Vancouver gets a pass out to center. Hill was back to intercept, and Courtnall sends it back in. Here's Lance with the shot and misses the goal. Pass by Bruce, didn't get very far as the Canucks were concerned. Here's There's Wendell Clark in there. He's nowhere near the net. Had to hurry that shot. He was checked immediately. Nearing the halfway mark. Period number 3. 8-5 Toronto.
David Bruce hasn't played very much tonight, as the Canucks have gone with basically 3 lines. He's a player who's played pretty good hockey for Vancouver since being recalled from Fredericton about a month or 2 ago.
10 minutes, 45 seconds left. Toronto leading by 3.
Normally, you'd think you're safe with an 8-5 lead with 10 minutes and 45 seconds to go, but the goals have come in bunches, and it's not over yet.
Certainly not in this tight game. You take Toronto in the second period at one point, had a 3-goal lead, and very quickly the Canucks got to within 1 and very nearly tied it at one point. But now, away to center is Peterson. Peterson cuts into the slot. Peterson passes in front. Sandlap is covered. Penalty coming up to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Iafrate gets the call. This is a tripping penalty and a power play for Vancouver.
Here's the shot. You can see that Cochran was going to the net, and in his attempt to get the puck, he stepped all over Reggett and knocked him down, and there's the trip behind the net by Al Iafrate. And the Leafs have had some very poor penalties tonight, and it seems to me the poor penalties are harder to kill off than the ones you get when you play this good rugged hockey. And if Vancouver scores in this power play, they're back in the game.
And they just might. They've had 3 power play goals earlier this evening. Burgess winning the draw and getting it out and down the ice. Crease out to stop it for Doug Lister. Lister goes behind the goal. Surveys the situation and now skates away. Janacek couldn't stop him. Peterson with Tanny coming in, but that's offside. Nope, another penalty call, and it's against Vancouver this time.
Stan Smeal's going to get the penalty. He starts on the power play rush way up at the Leaf blue line. As the rush comes up the ice, he goes across the ice. Then they try and make a pass to the wide man coming from when Smeal left. And he got caught for interference. Stan Smeal is one of my favorite players that I've ever coached. And you know, he has a record that I don't think will ever be broken. 4 Memorial Cups in a row, and his team won 2. See Smeal on the blue line there? He's going to get called for interference right there. And had that play been onside, Mr. Tanty was waltzing to the net all alone.
So they're even as far as manpower is concerned, with Iafrate having a minute 41 left in his penalty, and now Smeal of Vancouver is in the penalty box. Toronto 8, Vancouver 5 at the halfway mark of the 3rd period. Sundstrom shoots it in for Reggett. Tanny went in. Well, the Leafs are going to move it to the line, not out. Richter there sends it across the line for Benning. His low shot missing. Sundstrom on the puck. Back it comes to Richter. Richter faked a pass, now gives it, nearly gave it away to Courtnall. Courtnall looking for that open ice. There's no question Courtnall is a breakaway type skater.
He plays best when he's got the puck a lot and carries it. He hasn't done that much tonight, although he's looking a little better this period.
Richter's long shot. Reggett jamming the legs on that. Leaving around the net. Strico tied him up at the blue line. Again, a shot by Richter is off. Vancouver moving it in. You wouldn't know, but they were on a power play. They're even with 2 players in the box, Iafrate and Smeal. And in Iafrate's penalty now, 25 seconds. Out for Courtnall. Missed the pass. Tried to pick it up and couldn't. Lehman does, and backhands it in. Now the Leafs undoubtedly will make changes. Iafrate with 10 seconds left in his penalty, ready to step back on. 5 knocked it back for McGill to Salming. Salming pushed it ahead for Janacek. tried to hit 5 with the pass. 5 is in, folding the defenseman Benning. Got it back to the line. Iafrate is on the ice again. Penalty over. The Leafs have a power play, but not for long. Smeel will be on in just 5 seconds. There's Reagan slapping the goal stick, letting his mates know that Smeel is about to come out of the box, and now, in fact, he's out. Inachak shoveled one off to the corner for Thomas coming in. Inachak following up. Banks it off the boards for McGill. He was stopped. And here is Smeel out of the box and moving in. Smeel, the pass. Peterson goes for the net. Reagan chopped at it. And the play is called again with the net off the Mornings. And there'll be a face-off in there. 7 minutes and 35 seconds remaining. And the Toronto Maple Leafs have what looks like a comfortable lead at this point, 8-5. We'll see. Hodgson circles, comes near in front of the net and then lost it. Allison hands it off. Fergus goes in. For Dom Foose in there, and then couldn't quite get a shot. Allison stopped his man from moving on the puck. Fergus went in. Cochran comes in to help for Vancouver. Cochran knocked the puck to the corner. Fergus turns. Pass to Allison to Fergus, and he's tied up and can't make a move. Canucks just dump it out and down the ice. Icing will be called for the Lambs back. So we have another Hockey Night in Canada update now, and here's Dave Hodge.
In the third period at Calgary, Reggie Lemelin has been busy. He has been good until this shot from Mario Marois. Well outside the blue line, it somehow finds its way past Lemelin, and the Jets have found their way back into the game, trailing by a goal with 7 minutes left.
And Harry, what was that you were saying about a National Hockey League goaltender stopping a 60-footer, which you're right, they should.
Well, it looks like across Canada tonight there's been debatable goaltending.
Long one from center ice. And a tough one for Lemelin to allow. 6:45 remaining in the third period here. 8-5 the score. Toronto. Benning shoveled a pass in and offside. Just a little late with that pass.
There's Jim Sandlak, the first-round pick 2 years ago. Big, strong guy, and I think he's going to be a pretty good player in a year or two. Sometimes those guys that are 6'4" and weigh 200 pounds, they grew too fast, and it takes a while for their strength to catch up to their size. He's got a good shot, and if he'd only play a little tougher, being that big guy that he is, I think he'd be a little better, a little faster.
He slowed tremendously now in this third period. Got 13 goals up on the board. Courtnall cruising near center, trying to get that pass. He was behind everybody had he knocked it down. Clark is in with Courtnall. The Canucks, Sandlak gets it through center ice. Skriko comes in, drops it back, and the Leafs intercept and get it out. Clark tried to put it over to Courtnall. And another penalty coming up, I think. There's a sign made, a high stick. And Lehman is going to the penalty box for the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's Lehman in the penalty box. 2 minutes for high sticking here at 13:49. And the power plays continue for Vancouver. You can't say they're not getting chances, but they're down 3 goals. They need one here. 6 minutes remaining in the third period. Canucks, Lidster starts the play to Tanti. Tanti stick handles in, dropped it neatly up the blue line, but set up there was Fergus. Now he has it. Allison trying to catch up. Fergus looking for him. Gill fired it right at Caprice. He trailed the play and got a good shot away. He was in perfect position. Right, get out of the net, setting it up for Lands. He's covered by Tanti and Sundstrom. Leafs Allison can't get it out. Sundstrom has it. Looks for Tandy. Goes back to Tambellini instead. Sundstrom again. Waiting now. Lidster in front of the net. There's Tandy. Nice save by Reget. Leafs get it out.
Tandy's got an amazing skill of finding an opening when there isn't much of a one in order to get the shot off. He did there. Sundstrom gave him the puck, and Reget had to make a big save.
Tambellini couldn't stop it. Cordell trying to race in there. Look at him go. By everybody. I'll tell you, he was 4 or 5 strides behind 2 Vancouver Canucks. When he saw that open ice, just took off. There's Cordell. In the corner is Iafrate. He gave it to Tambellini, and Tambellini for Vancouver. Coming out, 30 seconds left, and Beeman's penalty. Up the center, he'll shoot it in. Got it by Jackson, right to Reget. Now here's Jackson. Here's Cordell on his skate, but he breaks away anyway. Cordell up over the line with Iafrate going in. 2 speedsters, and Iafrate's weak shot, an easy save. Out for Peterson. Peterson comes across the Maple Leaf blue line. That pass stopped by Jackson. Now Lehman is ready to come on. His penalty is now over. In is Sandlak. Driving for the net. Reget poked that away with a neat poke check with a big stick. Canucks are offside on that play. Peterson was trapped in there, and the play is called again.
Wendell Clark's been rather unnoticeable tonight after that early fight he had with Butcher. And he's been a while between goals. And the Leafs, in order to make the playoffs, need number 17 and number 9 motoring and scoring.
4 minutes left, 3rd period. 8-5 to score Toronto. Thomas breaks in. Free stop that, covering the short side rather neatly. Gave him no room at all. Lightson missing the pass. Leafs get it out to center ice. Thomas turns. Tried to backhand a pass away to 5 and missed it. Now Gill off the boards with it. Leafs get it out to center. Coming in is Thomas with 5. Right back to the line for Foss. His shot. Rebound. And it's grabbed by the goaltender, Caprice. He was down and got some help from Lidster.
That was a hard shot from the point. He stopped it, but there was a rebound, and Frank Caprice stayed in the way of the second shot.
Three minutes and 24 seconds remaining in the 3rd period. For the 3rd year in a row, Hockey Night in Canada is pleased to announce the winners of the 3-Star Challenge competition conducted across Canada. North Toronto Bantam AA team coached by Greg Kelly. The Barhead Bandits of the Northwest Alberta Hockey League. It's a name for you, Harry. That's a girls team coached by Alan Baxter. And as Caprice makes that save, I'll give you the 3rd winning team. The Milverton Juveniles, coached by Dave Shearer, Milverton, Ontario. The team coached by Alan Baxter from Barhead, Alberta, hence the Barhead Bandits.
I'm cheering
Tough
for
ladies.
them. They sound good to me.
Yes. Congratulations, winners. They'll spend a weekend in Vancouver, the 13th, 14th, and 15th of March with these Vancouver Canucks. Mr. Watt is waiting for you.
He may use a couple of them.
Foss shot right on, and Caprice stopped it again. 3 minutes and 17 seconds remaining in the 3rd period. 8-5, John Brophy's team up on the Vancouver Canucks.
Well, I think Brophy's got 2 points, and he needed them badly tonight, as some of the teams are starting to slip away from him in this division. And you know, in the Norris division, I don't think it makes any difference where you finish.
No.
Any one of the playoff teams has a chance of playing in the Stanley Cup semifinal.
And you know, they all know that. You talk to any of them, they know if they can make the playoffs in this Norris, as you say, Harry, anything can happen from there on.
I'd like to see a Leaf-Detroit series. That would be a beauty.
There is Fergus jamming on the brakes, getting in a better spot, and then the shot misses. 2:50 remaining, 3rd period. Salming backs up a bit. Now it's Bob McGill flipping a high one in, too high. And over the higher glass that Mr. Ballard talked about earlier into the crowd. Let's go down for a moment to Dave Hodge.
And we'll show you a big goal in Calgary. About 4 minutes left, and Gary Suter breaks in 2-on-1 with Lanny McDonald. The pass is good, and the shot is perfect, and the Flames lead by 2. 4 minutes left.
2:40 left here, and the Leafs lead by 3. This is Sandlak passing off to Peterson, going right in. Reggett stopped him, point blank range, and he stood his ground. Going down a bit, but he made the save. Lehman and Clark together with Courtnall. Courtnall coming in hard. He's in too far, hit the side of the net as he tried to backhand the pass out front. And the Canucks get it out of the zone. 2 minutes, 10 seconds remaining. Again, here's Lehman. Shoots! That's blocked neatly by Butcher. Courtnall went up there, bumped his man. Sprinkle. Another low shot off the net. Gill fires one. That misses. Courtnall. That's kicked out by Caprice. Lehman. Another scrap going to break out now. Going to be Clark and Butcher. And they're going to let him go. This is the second fight between these two tonight.
Butcher tagged Clark a couple of good ones early. Clark often wins fights, but he looks like he's losing at the start.
Well, they started very early in the first period. And here they are, waited till now, 1:50 left in the third period to resume that bounce. Two tough customers will go to the dressing room.
Well, I'll tell you, it's hard to think that a Vancouver defenseman would be one of their better players, but Garth Butcher has played an effective game tonight, and he's one Vancouver Canuck that backed up what he was saying about wanting to win this game. And watch how it starts in front. Butcher gets a piece of Clark to try and stop from tipping it in. Now Clark comes back with her sticks. They separate for a second, but they come back together, and they get involved in a pretty good heavyweight bout.
Major penalties, and I think there's a problem in behind the Vancouver bench at the far side. That's Jack McElhargy, the assistant coach.
Jack McElhargy is one of the most competitive players I've ever had in my team. He looks like a peaceful guy, but he was a tough customer, and he'll be a coach in the National League, a head coach within the near future, I would say.
A fan is being ejected by the finest of Toronto from in behind the Vancouver bench. They want to move another. He's very disappointed because he looked at the policeman and said, "Oh, no, not me too."
Well, the fans pay a lot of money for a ticket, but I don't think that gives them the privilege of talking any way they want to the players, and my guess is throwing some stuff at the bench. And this is, the Maple Leaf Gardens is one of the few rinks that has no glass to protect the fans from the players or the players from the fans. And there's McElhargy. I've seen that look on him when he played, and when I saw it, guys got out of his road.
Jack will be making his first trip to the Soviet Union next summer, and I talked to him this morning, and I said, "Never before?" "No, never before." "Well, I want to see you in October and get a full report." It's going to be hot in July over there.
Now here's Clark and Butcher in front of the net, and there's the shot from the point that we saw from another angle earlier, and Butcher comes cruising in here and gives Clark a shot, and I don't think either one of them hesitated. Now Butcher comes out of that at the first and lands a good one on Wendell Clark, but I don't know that there was a clear victory.
I don't know if they got air conditioning in the hotels in Moscow since '74.
Well, I'll tell you what, McElhargy will turn that into a good time, I can guarantee you.
Jack turns with a puck to Vive. He scored 3 times tonight for Toronto. The Canucks to center with time running out, and they dump it in. Off the boards, that's LeMay with the puck. And now Sundstrom with Tandy. Tandy on the boards. Tandy gets in that favorite spot again. There's the pass. Kicked away by Regathol. Tandy centered, scores! LeMay. Tandy is a good hockey player.
He sure is, and Patrick Sundstrom gave you a little taste of what he can do when he puts his mind to it. They could not take him out. And Tanny picked the puck out of a crowd like only he can. Tanny nearly scores on this one, but he doesn't get the whole puck. Now he picks it away from Iafrate, sticks it out in front to Molame, and it's in the net, and it's 8-6.
18:41, the time of the goal. And welcome to you people who have been watching the game. Winnipeg and Calgary. I'm Bob Cole with Harry Neal in Toronto. We've got a lot of goals tonight. 8-6 is the score for Toronto, and the Canucks are in again. We have just a minute left in the third period, and it's been a wild evening as far as scoring is concerned. Leafs had a 3-goal spread at one time. The Canucks got within 1. Another 3-goal spread, and now the Canucks are within 2, but time is running out. Dom Foose in for Toronto. In the slot, Allison Dom Foose. Nice save by Caprice. Caprice playing the third period. Richard Brodeur, the first 2. Reagan all the way for the Leafs. 8-6 Toronto. Fergus. Fake to pass along the boards. Allison coming up. He's in there with Benning. With 25 seconds left, the Leafs have picked up 2 valuable points tonight, and as much as St. Louis is tied, the Islanders in New York, and Chicago has defeated Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh.
Molame, number 14, was a big goal scorer in junior hockey. He hasn't quite achieved that in the National League. Look at that move by Sundstrom. He throws it into Tanny. Watch for 14 in front of your net now. In front of the net, that puck comes out through 3 Leafs going after 2 Canucks, and LeMay snapped it in. This kid's got some talent too, but for him to have 12 goals at this point in the season is disappointing. And I know Tom Watt is very concerned about the lack of production from his left wingers.
5 out there for Toronto. He has scored 3 times tonight for the Leafs. Inachak has 2. Tanny has 2 for Vancouver. 10 seconds left. 5 knocks one down at center. 8 seconds left. And the Canucks in possession. This will be it with Lidster in. Final shot is deflected by McGill off the net.
Well, I think John Brophy's seen better games, but he's going to come up with the old theory that it's not how you crush the grapes, it's how the wine tastes. And it tastes pretty good tonight with a victory.
8-6 the final score. Toronto winning it, outshooting Vancouver 36-31. And in just a moment, our Molson Cup 3-star selection. Ladies and gentlemen, here are tonight's Molson Cup 3-star selections. The first star, Rick Vide. The second star, Tony Tanti. And the third star, Peter Inachak.
Well, the Maple Leafs had been in a scoring drought. Several players had, and we told you that at the start of the program, but it all came to an end, that scoring problem tonight against the Vancouver Canucks. Richard Brodeur allowed 7 of them. Frank Caprice was in for 1 more, and the Leafs get a point closer to a playoff spot. They're now 3 back of the 4th place St. Louis Blues, and the Vancouver Canucks remain where they were when this night started, 11 points back of the Los Angeles Kings. 8-6 Leafs. Hockey Night in Canada returns in just a moment.
Now, the NHL Tonight, featuring the scores, stories, and news highlights of tonight's games. From our control center, Dave Hodge.
Welcome to the NHL Tonight. Our Hockey Night in Canada highlights tonight include Calgary's win over Winnipeg. The Flames going to 2nd place in the Smythe division. Rick Vaive had 3 goals as the Leafs beat Vancouver 8-6. And Montreal eked out a win over New Jersey. That allowed the Canadiens to stay ahead of the Boston Bruins and within 3 points of the Hartford Whalers in the Adams division. We go now to the Forum in Montreal for this report from Brian McFarland. Well, you mentioned, Dave, the Canadians trying to stay on the heels of the Whalers, and that they are doing with their victory 3-2 over the New Jersey Devils tonight. Guy Carbonneau had a pair of goals. Let's go to Dick Irvin and Gary Dornhofer for some of the highlights.
Well, kind of a strange game from the standpoint that Montreal was given credit for 3 goals, but Gary, they only shot the puck behind Craig Billington once. It's kind of spoiled a pretty good goaltending performance by the 20-year-old kid.
Yes, it did, Dick. Billington, he was spectacular at times, and unfortunately the first couple, he actually knocked the first one into his own net, and then Kirk Muller put the second one behind him. And you know, it's tough enough having to make saves, but then when you do the damage yourself, it gets very frustrating.
Take a look at the goals that were scored here in Montreal tonight, and you get an idea of what we mean. Starts off with John Cordick getting credit for the first Montreal goal, but as Gary says, Billington puts it in the net himself.
He makes the save. It gets underneath him. Now he's trying to put those pads together. Here's a good angle at it. The puck is just laying on the crease. Whoop, there it goes. And that's number 1. Credit that one to Billington.
All right, in the second period now, the Canadians get another break. Guy Carbonneau gets credit for a goal from the so-called impossible angle.
Well, you see Kirk Muller doing the back checking. He's trying to deflect the puck away right into his own net. So there's the first 2 goals that the Devils knocked in themselves.
Devils on a power play here as they get on the board.
Look at the screen set up in front, and Johnson shoots it low, and Patrick Waugh went right through his legs. He was a little upset, thought there should have been interference on the play.
New Jersey picked things up after that goal when they got on the board. They dominated the tail end of the second period, and they dominated early in the third. It paid off here. They tied the game.
Well, you saw 4 Canadians close to the crease area. Nobody looked around to pick up Wolanin. He took a perfect feed and tied the game.
And then came the game-winning goal. It was a long lead pass off a stick into the center ice area, and by golly, the Canadians put it to the net. Guy Carbonneau. Here it is. We finally get back to it. And he did shoot it high over Billington's gloved hand, which had been a great part of the hockey game for him, and the Canadians won it. With Montreal heading off into a 5-game road trip, an important win for them here on home ice. So 3-2, the Canadians beat the New Jersey Devils here at the Montreal Forum. Here again, Dave Hodge.
Thank you, Dick. This was a perfect day for the Boston Bruins. They won and the Vancouver Canucks lost. The Bruins hoping for the first draft pick, and it doesn't look as though they have too much worry about that, nor do the Los Angeles Kings about staying in 4th place in the Smythe Division. Vancouver loses again, 8-6 to the Leafs. Bob Cole and Harry Neal watched it and talk about it now.
Well, you would kind of suspect when the 20th team in the National Hockey League meets the 21st team in the National Hockey League, there would indeed be plenty of goal scoring. And there was. As Dave said, 8-6. How do you analyze a game like that?
Well, if you're Brophy, you don't. If you're Tom Watt, you wonder what's happening. Your team hasn't been able to score goals, and now they score 6, and they can't win the game, and that's frustrating.
Vancouver, hoping, of course, always hoping for a playoff spot, 11 points behind L.A. Not much chance. The Leafs, with St. Louis getting a point tonight, now trail St. Louis for that last playoff spot in the Norris Division by 3, and they have St. Louis on Tuesday.
Well, that's a huge game for both teams, and St. Louis has not quite as nice a schedule as far as home and away is concerned that Toronto has. But, you know, in March, when those playoffs are within whiffing distance, home and away doesn't mean as much as it does earlier in the season.
You mentioned something during our telecast that in this Norris Division, it's, I hate to use this word, it's kind of loose, so anybody who makes the playoffs can get right through, and who knows how far.
Well, a team that hasn't got a great record is going to play in the Stanley Cup semifinals, and by the time the teams get to the 3rd round, who knows who's hurt, who knows what kind of goaltending you're going to get. And last year, who would have predicted Montreal and Calgary playing for the Stanley Cup? So that lottery, you got to get in it, then your chances aren't too bad of going somewhere if you do.
Richard Brodeur, one of the hottest goaltenders in the league, not too many moons ago, was lifted in the 3rd period for young Caprice. Has he had it?
I don't think so. Frank Caprice played very well, and it's not easy going in after 2. This wasn't one of Richard's great nights. And you wonder if there's a team that thinks they can win the Stanley Cup that could use Richard Brodeur and solve a problem for the future for the Vancouver Canucks.
In my books, he's still a good goaltender.
Excellent.
8-6, the final here in Toronto, and the Maple Leafs winning an important 2 points in their hunt for a playoff spot.
The NHL tonight will continue as we return to Hockey Night in Canada in just a moment. Saturday on Hockey Night in Canada, the Edmonton Oilers are home after a disastrous road trip. They will host the Montreal Canadiens. As well, the New York Islanders, featuring Brian the Author Trottier, visit Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. Join us Saturday on Hockey Night in Canada.
Next week on the Fifth Estate, an unusual and highly successful drug rehabilitation community north of Montreal.
I was much more comfortable in jail. I didn't have to work hard in jail. I knew my way around jail. Here, you walk the line.
You make me feel that small. That big you make me feel. Then you come to me and you're hostile towards me?
The Fifth Estate, Tuesday at 8:30 in Newfoundland on CBC Television.
Well, they're celebrating second place, at least for the moment, in Calgary tonight. The Flames hadn't been able to beat Winnipeg in 3 previous tries, so the Flames are second. Maybe they're thinking about being first. Let's go to the Saddle Dome for this report.
Dave, second place in the Smythe division and a 3-game winning streak by the Jets over the Flames on the line tonight. Well, the Jets streak is over, and the Flames have moved into second place ahead of Winnipeg and just 5 points back of the slumping Edmonton Oilers in the Smythe division. So we have to talk about a race for first as well as second now in the Smythe. With more, Don Whitman and John Garrett.
The first time, Chris, these two teams have met in 3 months. They last played on November the 27th. And the Winnipeg Jets got off to the early lead with Dale Howarchuk getting his 41st of the season. John Garrett, a pretty move on a breakaway pass from Paul McLean.
Well, he double pumps, and on the first pump, Reggie goes down. Howarchuk's able to throw it through his legs.
Mullen and Tonelli scored to give Calgary a 2-1 lead. It was 1-1 after the first period. Then in the second period, leading 2-1, watch Colin Patterson follow up after whistling one off the glass.
Well, Dave Ellett lets him go by. Steve Rooney's got the stick around his shoulder, but doesn't haul him down. Patterson's allowed to walk right in and put it away.
Then another breakaway pass, this time Marois feeding Howarchuk.
Well, again, he fakes the shot. Reggie freezes, closes the legs, and then Howarchuk's able to pull it by him, and he goes upstairs on the back end.
That made it 3-2, Dale Howarchuk's 42nd goal of the year. But the Calgary Flames come back with Joe Mullen.
Well, Reinhardt waits for Ellett to commit himself, throws it over to Mullen, and Mullen catches Berthume just starting to move and then goes through his legs.
That made it 4-2. The Jets closed within 4-3 in the third, but a final goal by Lanny McDonald for a 5-3 score. 5 games in the final month of the season between these two.
Well, you have to have more than one line going. The Jets didn't tonight.
Well, the Calgary Flames were winners tonight, but the big winner was Rick Hansen's Man in Motion tour. With more, here's Chris.
Don, we had a special first intermission here at the Olympic Saddle Dome tonight as the Man in Motion, Rick Hansen, greeted with a standing ovation by the crowd here in Calgary. In fact, it's been a tremendous week for Rick, highlighted tonight by a special fundraising shootout tonight, the biggest of its kind ever. The shooter was none other than Mayor Ralph Klein of Calgary. Various corporations sponsored $2,500 per puck, 21 pucks. If Ralph Klein put them in the goal, they were worth $5,000. $330,000 raised for the Man in Motion tonight. Now back to Dave.
Well, we should have donated some money for each goal in Toronto because the Leafs beat the Vancouver Canucks 8-6 with 3 from Rick Vaive and 2 by Peter Inachak. Tanti and LeMay had 2 each for the 21st place Canucks. Calgary's win over Winnipeg. There's a recap of the scoring. 2 for Joe Mullen and 2 for Dale Howarchuk. In Montreal, the Canadiens on 2 goals by Guy Carbonneau. The winner in the third period beat New Jersey 3-2. This afternoon, Boston over Buffalo 5-1. Simmer and Crowder 2-goal men for the Bruins. Detroit continued to top the Norris division, beating the Rangers 4-1. Minnesota chasing the Red Wings, and they won 6-3 to the North Stars, 2 for Brian McClellan. A last-minute goal by Mikko Makala sent it to overtime and allowed the Islanders to tie St. Louis 3-3. Wayne Presley scored with 10 minutes to go in the third period to give Chicago a win over Pittsburgh. And another 2-1 game saw Hartford beat Quebec 2-1 on a goal by Paul McDermott. So some quick questions now for Don Cherry. Is Richard Brodeur going to be traded? How much interest should a contending team have in him?
Of all the guys in the National Hockey Leagues, I feel sorry for King Richard more than anybody. Game after game, he gets over there and gets pounded and pounded, yet he keeps his confidence up there. And I'd get him. I would love him. And Philadelphia back up, he'd be dynamite.
Calgary is second. Should Calgary be looking ahead to first? Is that realistic?
No, I wouldn't. What I would do is I would, like they did last year, just get all the injuries back, get ready. Looks like they're making their run again. I mean, everybody's coming back. Bob Johnson's got them ready again, it looks like.
All right, now should the Canadiens worry about finishing first, second, or third in the Adams division?
I would never ever again, and I was first 4 years in a row, worry about my division finishing first. Mike Keenan told me the biggest mistake of his coaching career when he tried to put that rush on at the end, that's what happened to him. Nobody remembers in the summer who ended first, and you get one extra lousy home game. It doesn't mean a thing. Get everybody ready. Don't try for that first spot.
Now, are you jealous that Brian Trottier got fined, but talking about the referees? And I mean, he stole a bit of your thunder.
Well, you know, the thing I don't understand about tonight, Trottier did that, he got fined $1,000. I got fined $2,000. I don't understand that. It's not true, but I don't understand Don Koharski tonight. You know, it was Tommy Watt that called him fat and couldn't move in that, and he was stiffing the Leafs. I don't understand that one with Don at all.
Well, the Canucks, without power play goals, imagine what kind of a game it would have been.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, honest to God, my heart hurt tonight watching that game tonight for a team that's trying to make the playoffs and the mistakes that were made out there. That tonight was what I call garbage hockey. I know a lot of people were excited with the goals and that. I saw the Leafs winning by 1 goal and the defenseman's up behind the net. I Frady behind the net. Todd Gill, dumb penalties. I mean, just absolutely. Allison, I liked it. He went after the guy, knocked him down, but he was 1 goal up. Stupid. Wait and get the guy's number. I still say they're going to make the playoffs. Big game Tuesday.
You're fine, Don. That F-I-N-E. You're fine. Next Saturday night, Montreal is at Edmonton, and the Islanders will play in Toronto. Join us then. So long for now. Live on CBC, Hockey Night in Canada. Brought to you by Molson Canadian, taste that'll stop you cold. Esso, makers of ProTech Ultra Engine Oil, protection for your engine's future. And by Ford of Canada, where quality is more than a commitment, quality is job one. Hockey Night in Canada is a CBC Sports presentation produced in cooperation with Ohlmeyer Communications.